There are a lot, you know, just because you haven't been initiated in the warrior doesn't mean you're not a bully or that you're not aggressive. Because they're the passive guys on the one hand, and for every passive guy, there's somebody that is a bully and a monster boy in the active mode. And the world is being run by them now. And the world, you know, in 1990, I was writing about this stuff, and I was looking at a very dark future. And I said, if men don't start helping boys with this, with learning to regulate these instinctual energies, things are going to get worse. And I started predicting an increase in terrorism around the world because of the way in which young men are being abandoned around the world. I wish I would have been wrong. Turns out I was horribly right about my predictions about that, and it's only going to get worse now. But anyway, just a few things about training the warrior. Assertiveness training. Probably everybody in this room ought to really look hard at the assertiveness training. To the extent that you're not creatively assertive in the various settings of your life, you're wasting this archetypal energy. And it's going into destructive, trickster, unproductive, uncreative expressions in your life. So, one of the things, if I get a guy coming into me who's really weak on this, I'll just give him the book by Bach, Creative Aggression. If you're a nice guy, that book's really going to offend you. And if you're offended by it, that means you really need it. Bach, George Bach. He's really in. But he has got a wonderful section in there. It's worth the price of the book. And it's called The Price of Nice. The Price of Nice. The Price of Nice. And it's all the things that you create in your world and in your family and in your society by worshiping at the shrine of niceness. Nice is not a term we apply to men. That is a term we apply to boys. And when it's applied to men, it's not a compliment. Remember that when somebody tells you you're such a nice man. All right, and I just want to throw out a few things that can help. I send a lot of people to martial arts training. If they're really nice guys, I send them to Aikido. So they can engage.
Nice guys, they go to Aikido.
Yes, because that's universal love. You know, they can kick your ass, but they do it with universal love. And so if you're a pacifist guy, you can go do Aikido. You don't have any excuse. And another thing, learn to pilot a plane. Because if you try to pilot a plane before you get serious about your warrior virtues, you will be dead. Because guys that fly planes and think they can bypass the warrior virtues, they die. Because a warrior checks details. They don't cut corners. They make sure the chute is packed right. They go through the checklist. They operate in a linear, tracked, monitored world where not anything is left to chance. Because when in the warrior's world, when you leave something to chance, people die unnecessarily. Do you follow that? Yeah. Okay. And get this, project management. If you're a lousy warrior, go take some seminars in project management. Because if you show me a guy who's really a fabulous project manager, I'll show you a guy who's got some high-level warrior skills. He doesn't have to bully anybody. He knows how to ask the right questions to find out where the sloppiness is. and he will create a means to get it done and get it done effectively, utilizing the right amount of resources. So you might know a lot of guys who you can't stand that are project managers, and that's right. Just because you got a lot of warrior stuff doesn't mean you're likable, right? But don't forget that. If you can't manage a project, don't attribute it to your typology. Oh, I'm just an intuitive type. And I'm just I'm an intuitive feeler. Well, that's not an excuse. Sorry. Okay.
Don't apologize.
Two other things. Study ethics. Because the warrior's realm is the realm of the discernment of right and wrong and good and evil. And people who have an insufficient warrior initiation have insufficient outrage at the real evil in the world. So, I'm not impressed with people who try to tell me that the warrior's a bad thing. Because if you don't have any warrior, you can meditate in white light meditation while children are being eaten all around the world and not feel a thing except bliss. Do you read me? And there are a lot of people who are blissed out through meditation and other spiritual techniques who managed to make themselves completely incapable of discerning evil, real radical evil, wherein it exists. And that capacity comes from no other sector of the psyche. It doesn't come from the royal. The royal by itself will do anything. It does not limit its own aggression. The lover by itself will just stick its tongue in anything. But it's not preoccupied with whether my sensual gratification is evil. The guys that traffic in prostitution, child and otherwise, they're into their lover, but they have no idea what they are colluding with, or they don't care. The magician is going to study. It's going to have a study commission. The magician guy will study evil. And another bunch of people go over the falls, or they go into the quicksand, and there's a lovely commercial about that. This guy, he's got these colleagues going into the quicksand, and he's studying it so he can bring it up at the next meeting. So the only thing in the psyche that has a sense of right and wrong and of good and evil is this system. And when you hear some spiritual type tell you they're beyond good and evil, I hope your bullshit indicator is working. Because nobody is beyond good and evil. And it doesn't matter how liberal you are or how conservative you are. You're not beyond good and evil, and you participate in it, and you collude in it. And the only thing where you have a healthy sense of honor and shame about your collusion with evil is in this sector. And so those are a few things about this sector of the psyche.
If you want to dive deeper into personal development with the archetypes, you're ready to try the Sovereign Man course. This guided shadow work program provides practical techniques to balance the 4 masculine powers within you. Click on the link in the description to learn more.